All right, let's get into this. Over the past, I mean, I don't know, 24 hours, 16 hours, the story tendered by, and there's multiple police departments that are involved in the Uvalde, Texas shooting, including like the Texas Department of Public Safety, the school force that is specifically to protect schools. I should say the police force specifically to protect schools. Then the state police, and they seem at odds now because there are differing stories and there have been evolving stories. Let's just go with this. Here's Texas Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. This is him yesterday.
Or over the weekend, I think.
Was this yesterday?
I think it was Saturday.
The date on the clip was yesterday. But
yes, it was Saturday.
Yeah.
Okay, this is Saturday. Just give you a sense of how things have evolved.
The hold that was the mistake that did not follow protocol. It was the security officer not on the campus that was the mistake. It was an open door held by a rock that allowed that person to get it. And that teacher will live with that decision also.
Yeah, it turns out none of that ends up being the case. Now, I
special place in hell for somebody who blames the teacher there, which wasn't even true, by the way. But even if the teacher had did leave the door open with a rock, you trying to claim that she or he has to live with that decision, not the gun manufacturers, not you Republican politicians who refuse to do anything about it. It's a teacher who might have wanted a little bit of a breeze in the classroom, and it's not even true. So,
and Insider.com outlines at least 13 times that the police stories have changed. The door, and I think the latest was the door was held open by a rock, and then it was shut by a teacher when they heard there was an active shooter on, and now they're saying it didn't lock.
The teacher's lawyer pushed back on that, and that seems to now be confirmed because, of course, the teacher has to lawyer up now because the teacher...
You got a line police force that's going to put shit on them.
Yep, exactly.
And now you have the school district, they call it the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District Police Chief. I mean, it's just sort of amazing the different police forces that they have here. Again, 40% of the town's budget goes to policing. They are not talking to the other police.
The investigation into what happened. They're not cooperating. And it was, sorry to cut you off, Sam, but it's the Uvalde police chief who made this decision, who was also the incident commander on site when this happened, making the decisions that led to this botched response. And frankly, we have to start asking questions about what they're covering up here.
Of course. And
it's something big, I think.
And apparently the school district police chief was sworn into the city council last night. They had obviously won the election, but they did it in private. They swore the city council in. Now, there's a lot of hens, or I should say foxes guarding the hen house type of situation here. I don't know what the DOJ is up to at this point. We don't know if it is, if they're, begun their investigations or they plan to investigate. There's been some talk about that. But this is just amazing. How if they're this disorganized without nefariously covering something up, there's a real problem. I mean, right? Because these are the people supposedly or that are in charge of investigating and providing evidence and locking people up, right? I mean, 40% of the city's budget goes to pay all these people. And this is just probably the only time in the history of this town's policing in any way that they've received any significant measure of scrutiny.
Yeah.
I mean, after this, if I'm a lawyer with any client who's had any relationship with the police departments in this city, I'm going to call for the case to be reopened, because they're either unmitigated liars or incredibly incompetent, or both.
Frankly, I still think, there needs to be more pressure on the Biden administration. The Attorney General, Merrick Garland, should be looking into this. I don't know what the status is, as you say, of the Department of Justice probe, but they're covering up something, extremely either negligent or bloody here. Frankly,
Yeah.
I believe. And also, just to comment quickly on Dan Patrick's rush to blame the teacher there. This was a point that was made on this program last week, maybe in the context on Thursday of that Steven Crowder clip where he was using it as a way to attack public schools. They're going to, because they have nowhere to run from the gun debate, right? It's so open and shut and obvious that we shouldn't have these weapons of war being sold to anybody so easily. They're not even really on the mental health thing anymore. I mean, Laura Ingraham last night was blaming pot, but they're going to go after public schools as an institution. They are inherently unsafe. One, they're unsafe because the teachers are grooming your kids to be trans and gay, but also those teachers who are unable to protect your kids from mass murderers. So this is why we should defund them. More homeschooling.
They barely have any paramilitary training.
Yeah, barely.
The story that I would watch to see if it gets changed is like this weekend they said, we think that all of the kids who died were shot by the gunman. And I think like it could very well turn out that even despite not breaching the door and stopping this guy, they somehow managed to like fire in and kill a kid.
I was dancing around it a bit, but we don't know. I mean, we'll see. But it's yeah.
That's the sort of thing, like the appearance of impropriety. Like the idea that a police department is changing their story publicly like this is a menace to, the public.
Yeah.